I don't think there's any easy way to say this, but if Congress allows the federal government to shut down, this could be the ultimate rug pull, not only on the American people, but on the housing market. This could literally be the black swan event that sinks everything. And I know that there are millions of government employees who will be in very, very bad positions if the government shuts down, meaning they won't get paid, they won't have jobs to go to, and ultimately, for a lot of people, their bills will go unpaid. But for the housing market, this could cause damage that we will never, ever recover from. And like I said before, this doesn't really bring me joy to talk about this, but this is something that has been on my mind all this week. If the federal government shuts down, what is going to be the impact to housing? How bad is it going to get? What's going to happen with all of the loans that the federal government insures? And to be honest, it's a downright shame for us to have elected officials allow something like this to happen when the effects on the American people are going to be irreversible. It's just a shame. And when I put my tinfoil hat on a little bit, I'm starting to think, was this something that was planned? I mean, for the last couple of years, they've been talking about inflation and different ways to get it down. They've even been talking about how the housing market needs a reset. I mean, Jerome Powell has said it multiple times during his FOMC meetings. And despite the higher mortgage interest rates and the current economic climate we're in, nothing has seemed to slow down the housing market. But could this be the thing that they've been planning all along as the ultimate rug pull on the American people and the American housing market? Personally, I think so. I think that if we have people that are going to work every day and they're going out to dinner with each other every night, and their kids go to school together and they hang out on the weekends, there's absolutely no way that they couldn't come to an agreement on something just as, important as funding the government, that they couldn't come together and figure out something so the American people wouldn't lose. But here we are, once again, facing a federal government shutdown. And I'm telling you, if this happens, the results are not going to be pretty for the housing market. Now, if you've been watching, I've been saying that millions of homeowners are underwater already, even though home prices have allegedly went up across many markets in the United States. The problem is that inflation, or at least real inflation, is a lot higher. So if your job gave you a 5% raise, for example, and inflation was 10%, did you really make extra money? No, you didn't. And if you look at the amount that home prices have risen over the last year, and then you take a look at real inflation, or just take a look at your grocery store, right? With everything going up 20, 15% at least, do you honestly think that your home's value has really went up in terms of real terms? I don't think so. And I'm saying that millions of homeowners are already underwater. And this is just going to be the nail in the coffin for a lot of people. Maybe not forever, but for the short term, in the next year or two, or maybe even 5, the people who bought a home over the last 12 to 18 months, you are underwater and you're not going to be able to sell that home unless you're one of those people who put down 50%. But we're not talking about you in today's video. We're referring to the average American that's barely making it by, that was barely able to purchase a home. And guess what? This is the event that you really do not want to happen. And we're going to cover some of the ramifications of a federal government shutdown on housing right now. Now, I get it. I'm a new YouTuber. My channel has been around for a long time, but let's be honest, I haven't really been consistent on making videos. And you know what? That's my fault to you, because I have a wealth of information to give to everyone when it comes to housing, the economy, the stock market, plus a lot more. But if you haven't gotten around to subscribing to this channel, I earnestly ask you to hit the subscribe button. I'm not one of those YouTubers who likes to push things and have clickbait just to get people to watch the channel, because I'm not even monetized yet, but I would like to get there. And the best way for us to be able to get there and get these messages out to the American people is for you to hit subscribe. I give you my word, I will stay consistent this time. I will make sure that I upload videos at least 3 or 4 a week. Right now, I'm uploading daily. And if my real estate business gets busier, of course, I may have to drop off a little bit. But the best way to show me that you appreciate this information is to hit the like button, subscribe, and of course, share this video. There are not enough people out there who are going to be able to hear this message, just like when I talked about the dangers of buying a home in 2023, just like I talk about all the other important topics affecting the American people. So I appreciate you in advance for showing your support. Now, let's go ahead and jump into an article that's going to explain the impact on housing if the federal government shuts down. We have an article from the National Mortgage Professional. Potential government shutdown threatens home loan processing. Before we go all the way into the article, you have to think that many millions and millions of loans every single day are processed by the federal government. There are many people, especially first-time homebuyers, VA homebuyers, those who are buying in rural areas who would not be able to get a home loan to purchase a loan if it wasn't for the federal government insuring these loans, especially first-time homebuyers. Now, this article is by Christine Stewart. Let's jump into it. Limited staffing at HUD and USDA may cause delays in FHA, VA, and reverse mortgages, impacting homebuyers and the broader housing market. As if loan originators need something else to worry about, there's a possibility of a government shutdown Sunday that can impact FHA, VA loans along with the home equity conversion or reverse mortgages. In the event of a shutdown, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, will have limited staffing and stop processing home equity conversion or reverse mortgages altogether. Because we are able to endorse most single-family homes, we do not expect the impact on the housing market to be significant as long as the shutdown is brief. Now, here's the first keyword that they say there, as long as the shutdown is brief. But what if the shutdown takes as long as the previous shutdown? Me and my wife discussed this last night at dinner. The previous shutdown was actually 35 days. I thought it was only about 2 or 3 weeks, but 35 days of people not getting paid and not being able to process loans, that's gonna do some real damage. Continuing, with each day the shutdown continues, we can expect an increase in the impacts on potential homeowners, home sellers, and the entire housing market, okay? Right now, if you've been watching the videos, the housing market is not doing well. I know that everybody's pushing the whole idea that there's low inventory. The reason why there's low inventory is because of the rates and people aren't selling. But that inventory has been steadily creeping up because there are more homes coming to the market every single month than homes that are selling. That is a supply and demand difference that leads to more inventory. The agency added, FHA will have limited staff during the shutdown, and the processing or closing of FHA insured loans may be delayed. The longer the shutdown lasts, the more serious the impact will be. All FHA underwriting and processing requirements would remain in force during the government shutdown, and no loan may be endorsed that does not fulfill those requirements. Now, the last time the government shut down, if I'm not mistaken, you can comment below and let me know if I'm wrong, but the last time the government shut down, I believe it happened around like January or February. I could be wrong, but that's just my memory. I think it was like 5 years ago. Now, if the government shuts down now in October, this is literally the worst part of the selling season, or the beginning of the worst part of the selling season for the real estate market. So last time when the government shut down, if it did in January or February, the spring followed up right after, and they were able to pick up that volume. They were able to pick up the activity that was lost during that government shutdown. But now, in the worst time to sell a home, or should I say in the down months of selling a home, that activity is going to not be able to be reversed anytime soon because home sales typically don't pick back up until March or April at best. I believe a government shutdown would layer additional risk into the system and would drive rates up further past 8%, from the current levels of around 7.5%. A branch manager and senior loan officer at Guaranteed Rate said this would further impact home price affordability due to higher borrowing costs during a fall market that is already showing signs of a slowdown. Listen, I did videos last fall about how home prices fell over 10% in the fall just here in Metro Atlanta last year. So if rates go up to 8%, this is going to do even more damage. Starting to feel like this is playing like this is exactly what they want to happen. Typically, Congress can avoid a shutdown by passing a temporary spending measure, but it's unclear if that will happen before Sunday. On Monday, Agricultural Secretary Tom Vilsack appeared at a White House briefing and warned that some people trying to purchase homes in rural areas may not be able to receive loans guaranteed or provided by the USDA. He said that could mean some potential purchasers may not be able to close the loan, and it's also conceivable that they may lose the deal altogether. And it's not just rural buyers who won't be able to close on a home loan. You also got to remember FHA and VA are veterans who put their lives on the line to serve this country, because of government irresponsibility, at a minimum, they won't be able to close on their home. Now, when it comes to real estate and when it comes to deals being lost, let me explain to you what happens, if you didn't know, when someone's trying to close on a loan and their loan is not able to close. So if you haven't purchased a home or if you haven't sold a home, you know that when they go under contract, when these home purchases go under contract, there is a proposed closing date. Now, the seller does not really have to extend past that closing date if they don't want to. They could easily just say, you know what, I'm not going to extend anymore. I'll put my house on the market, I'll sell it to someone else, and I'll just keep your earnest money. A lot of times, which could easily be 1, 2, or sometimes even 3 to 4% of a home's purchase price. So if somebody's buying, I don't know, the median price home here in Metro Atlanta and 1% is $3,900, the median home price here is about $395, they could lose $3,900 at a minimum for nothing, for government incompetence. And listen, people who are selling their homes, like, don't think that they're just gonna wait also on the government shutdown. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but at the minimum, like, the only thing that I can do for you as an agent, if your home loan is not ready to close and the seller's getting a little antsy, I do have what's called a unilateral 8-day extension. I don't know about all the other states, but here in Georgia, we have what's called a unilateral 8-day extension, which means that I can automatically extend your contract 8 days and the seller can't do anything about it. But if the government shutdown lasts longer than 8 days, then your agent really doesn't have any tools to be able to keep you in that transaction. Data from the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act of 22 indicates that the Department of Agriculture's Farm Service Agency and Rural Housing Service granted 54,000 U.S. loans across 250 working days, averaging 218 daily. The FHA initiated about 141,000 single-family home loans over 61 working days, an average of roughly 2,300 per day. So just a quick recap, 2,300 loans a day could be delayed or possibly end up falling through. And that's every single day that this government shutdown persists. Well, if the government actually shuts down, which, you know, I don't even see why they would bring us to the edge and have us like waiting on the edge of our seats to see if this actually happened. Not to mention 8% mortgage rates. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this could be the black swan event that tanks the housing market. And it's a shame because homes are already unaffordable. And they're saying that 8% rates could affect home affordability. Listen, nobody's really buying homes at 7% rates. People actually stopped buying homes at the 6% rate, right? There are still people out there who, I don't know, maybe they listened to their lender or their real estate agent and thought they could refinance into a lower rate and they still bought homes at 6 and 7%. My God, if 8% rates come around, listen, you don't have to worry about home affordability. It's already not possible for most people to be able to buy homes. Teachers, firefighters, police officers, the people, like the real salt of the country people, they already can't buy homes at these rates. And I know that there are people who are gonna say otherwise. I have feet on the ground. I sell real estate every day. I talk to hundreds of homeowners every single day. So who would you trust? A journalist who is writing an article or somebody who actually does this for a living? That's up to you. But 8% rates will not only kill the plans of people purchasing a home, the possibility of people purchasing a home, it'll also kill home prices. Because currently we are at the point where either interest rates are going to come down or home prices are going to come down. One of the two has to happen. I know people are sitting on the sidelines saying that it's not going to happen. Well, get your popcorn ready because if something like this happens, you're going to see this happen really, really fast. And let's be honest, like the last couple of years have not been friendly for the average American. And when you're talking about FHA, VA, USDA loans, these are the people that really need it the most. I mean, FHA allows you to put down 3.5%. So these are like your regular average Americans. These are not wealthy people. These are not people who were putting down, 20%, 40, 50% on their home purchase. These are people who probably had to scrape and save, penny pinch, sometimes even borrow money from family members just to be able to get qualified to make a purchase. It's crazy that these are the same people that will be affected by a government shutdown. And this will create a chain reaction because you also have to think about the people who have contingent deals, the people who are purchasing another home because they're moving out of their other home and that home is under contract. They're trying to purchase another home under contract. And if one chain in that sequence breaks like the federal government shutting down could cause it to, everything falls apart. So example, let's just say we've got Joe. Joe is buying a home from Chris. Chris is using the money from the home that Joe is purchasing to buy a home from Jennifer, right? Now, if Joe can't complete his home purchase because Joe's using the FHA loan, that deal falls through. Because that deal falls through, it causes the deal that Chris has with Jennifer to also fall through. And you can see how things move up the chain, because most times people who are selling a home, they are purchasing another. And so you can have millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of home sales volume wiped out just by this happening. And not to mention, because those deals get wiped out, what do you think the people who are selling their homes are going to do? They're going to put their house right back on the market, which means that we can have an extra entire month worth of inventory get put back onto the market, which instantly would double the amount of inventory that we have. And what have people been saying? People have been saying a drastic increase in inventory will start the beginning process of home prices tanking. I've already said home prices didn't go up already. They didn't go up because of inflation. If we get an extra month worth of inventory because of all these deals fell apart, it is going to be catastrophic. Now, on the positive side, number one, hopefully the government doesn't shut down. But if the federal government does shut down, I think we should all be hoping that it is very short and that it only takes a couple of hours for this to happen, right? Only takes a couple of days for it to get fixed. We as a country cannot stand a 35-day shutdown like we could back in 2018 or 2017. I believe it was 2018, but comment below, make sure I'm right. We cannot stand a government shutdown that long, not with the way the economy is set up, not with the fact that consumers are already tapped out. They already said we were going to run out of money in October. So you think that this is going to help? Absolutely not. So I could go on forever and ever because this is really disheartening. It makes me upset that I even have to make this video. But honestly, I have to get the word out to the American people. So let me know what you think below. Make sure that you comment, like, share, subscribe, because things could get really, really messy if Congress allows the federal government to shut down. What are you planning on doing? Are you somebody who's currently under contract and you're feeling the heat or the pressure or the worry about, hey, what happens to the home that I've been saving to purchase? Let me know in the comments below, and I appreciate you. As always, please stay safe out there. Please love your family, love yourself. Thanks again. A Trusted Realtor, deal closed.